enough that the Howler controlled the plantations. It was not enough that they were making more profit. It was not enough that they had most of the arable land in Hawaii. No, they wanted to have control of the legislature. And their whole push in this period of time was to replace democratic native voting with oligarchic white missionary dominance. Kalakaua becomes ill, and he leaves for San Francisco, and he dies there in 1891. His sister, Liliuokalani, has been named in the Constitution as his successor. Liliuokalani is, for Hawaiians today and for Hawaiians then, a wonderfully Hawaiian personage. She is, for example, a great musician. She is a composer. She has over 300 songs to her credit, including some of the most famous songs in Hawaiian culture, like Aloha Oi, which is really a love song. But she was also something of a feminist. She had proposed, for example, that there be a women's bank. She was very concerned to support destitute Native children. And she brings to bear on this problem of her people's dispossession politically all of the grace and all of the understanding of a chiefly woman who has been trained for politics.
When Liliuokalani came to power in 1891, almost the first thing that she did was to take a tour of the islands. And wherever she went, there were representatives from all walks of society, basically, who came to her and said, we need a new constitution.
Petitions poured in from every part of the islands for a new constitution. To have ignored so general a request, I must be deaf to the voice of the people, which tradition tells us is the voice of God.
Immediately then, as soon as she takes office, she asserts herself. She decides that she will take a stand for her people, she will inaugurate a new constitution, and therein lies the whole tale of the overthrow. Unfortunately for Liliuokalani, the U.S. minister to the kingdom at the time was John L. Stevens.
Americanize the islands, assume control of the crown lands, and the result soon will be a civilization which will make the islands like Southern California.
Basically, Stevens saw it almost as a holy mission to see Hawaii safely encircled by American arms.
The time is near when we must decide who shall hold these islands as a part of their national territory.
He believed very strongly that America needed the Hawaiian Islands in order to expand.
The Hawaiians looked upon him as an unschooled buffoon. Not dangerous, but certainly very rude. This, of course, was really, in many ways, an error, because Stevens was very dangerous.
The monarchy now was only an impediment to good government.
He was the U.S. minister, an accredited U.S. minister to the Kingdom of Hawaii. His job was to carry on with the treaty agreements that had been made between the Kingdom of Hawaii and the government of America.
The Queen and her faction will have to yield. Otherwise, the entire overthrow of the monarchy could not be long delayed.
You're really looking at somebody who's just basically a spy. He was reporting back to a specific constituency in Washington. He was a close friend of James Blaine, who was the Secretary of State under the Harrison administration. They were operating their own agenda.
The golden hour is near at hand.
Part of the intimidation that the Hawaiian subjects were feeling was the constant presence of U.S. military.
When you get into the 1880s and 1890s, there's almost always an American warship in Hawaiian waters. They are rotated through. One will leave, another one takes its place.
As soon as the USS Boston is ready for sea, proceed to Honolulu and report to the Commander-in-Chief, Pacific Station.
The United States in the 1880s embarked on a shipbuilding program. It was part of the general naval arms buildup in the period. Look at the Boston, which was completed in 1887. This was a state-of-the-art battleship.
The main battery consists of two 8-inch central pivot high-powered guns mounted in echelon, and 6 6-inch high-powered guns mounted in broadside pivots, rapid-fire guns, revolving cannon,
This
Gatling
was
guns.
the kind of symbol of American power that was anchored in Honolulu Harbor when the Queen was overthrown.
Remain at Honolulu until further orders.
The fear that this lodged in the heart of Hawaiians, particularly in the sovereign, Lili'u, must have been tremendous. That was, I think, a real testament to her courage.
And what she basically had to contend with was the Annexation Club, a group of people who were involved in the sugar industry and related industries like banking or shipping, whose express purpose essentially is to rid the kingdom of monarchy, rid the kingdom of independence, and hand it over to the United States. One of the first things they did was they consulted with John Stevens.
It was common talk